Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to dissect the subject of why Misunderstanding AI Day could be your biggest investment mistake. And it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to give you a very different viewpoint on Tesla AI, different from everyone, and I'm going to go into with numbers into Tesla financials and what it can cause in the future. So stay tuned. And as always, if you like this content, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos. And if you want to go further, check out the Patreon link in the description box below, where you can support the channel from $5 a month, get direct access to me, and get access to all the valuations that we use on this channel. And you will be helping a European through this winter in the energy crisis. So really appreciate that. Let's get on with the video. So the much appreciated AI Day happened and many people were underwhelmed, but not for the right reasons, of course. I mean, first of all, this was a recruitment event, as we all know. When the robot came out, many people thought, Boston Dynamics has done way better than this years ago. They just missed to understand that all these nice videos with, the dogs dancing and the robot dancing is a, highly practiced, and, it's a shot that has been probably taken 100 times because the robot keeps falling. And I'm sure that if Tesla wanted to, they could do such choreography, but it's not the point. Then a lot of people were saying that Tesla is showcasing 20-year-old tech as new, and it was like a high school project. Anybody could have built this robot. So what people seem to miss is none of these companies that today claim they have robotics technology like Boston Dynamics, what they don't have is the autopilot system that Tesla has. Basically, the big issue with robotics is cracking the computer vision and being able to have, not to have a radio controlled robot where you need to tell it, where to go every second, but a robot that actually has intelligence and can navigate itself in the 3D world. So obviously this leaves the company in a situation, again, this is supposing that the bull case plays out and, the Tesla bot really becomes successful, that they don't have a competition. So this situation can also lead to general artificial intelligence, which is very, very exciting if it's cracked. Then you had the investors who were underwhelmed for a completely different reason. So they were underwhelmed because Elon said 3 to 5 years that it will take to get this into mass production. And you have to discount Elon time. And if he says something will take 2-3 weeks, it might take a year. If he says something will take a year, it might take 3 or 4 years. So when Elon says 3 to 5 years, then they're thinking it's like 20 years out. So they can't at all think with this. And who can blame them? So here's the interesting thing. All of us can agree on that the robots are the future. So the real question is, who's going to make these robots and when are they coming, right? Currently in Tesla's valuations, there is $0 attributed to the Tesla bot. And heck, probably the Tesla bot takes away from Tesla's evaluation because investors think that Elon is distracted. And Tesla, this is just a side note, I think is at a very funny point when it comes to its valuations, because the car business, I think, is fairly valued. However, none of the energy business, none of the robotaxis, and yeah, zero of this is counted into Tesla price. So it's a very, very interesting valuation currently. So again, we go back to this, that the real question when it comes to robots is it coming in the next 5 years? Is it coming in the next 20 years? Or is it coming in the next 50 years? Elon Musk has repeatedly said that the market for robots is greater than that of cars, much greater, potentially tens to hundreds of millions per year. And this is very logical because if, you would have a robot that you can pay $200,000 for, that can do your dishes, cook your food, can walk your dog, clean your house, then it's way better than having a wife. Just kidding. But basically it means that the average people could afford to have, full-time maids and, eat awesome food. And this is just one use case, right? Then you can use them in production, which would make the price of produced goods way cheaper than it is today. And it would completely change society as we know it. But the point is that the demand for this is way more than cars if it comes to fruition, right? So Elon said that the price should be about 20,000. And I saw a lot of people commenting on this that they said, 20,000 is probably, it will be 30,000 or maybe even 40,000. The thing is, if you look at, what make up a robot and how much materials make up the robot, it's way less than a car, way less. And if you looked at the presentation, many of the parts of the robot is going to be made from plastic. You don't need the same, safety and endurance in the robot as a car, because, obviously a car cannot, when it gets into an accident, it needs to, not fold all over itself and protect the passengers. Whereas if the robot falls, the only thing you need is that, the insides don't really get damaged, but the weight also with which it falls is way less. And also the robots are way simpler to produce. I got this picture in my mind. I don't know if you got the same. This is Star Wars. When they're in the robot factory, how fast robots can be pumped out. Anyway, so these things are way simpler to produce than cars. And hey, Musk is pretty good at producing things and coming up with new, ways. I wouldn't be surprised if they would make like a robot mold where they just, spray in some metal and then they have the mold and then they just put in the actuators and, put on a brain and then that's it. So I think easily the gross margin on the robot is going to be over 50%, meaning that maybe to produce this robot, it's going to cost less than $10,000. Again, this is a complete wild guess. I'm just looking at how much material and battery and, every material is needed for this, how easy it is to produce, how fast these things can be produced. So it's not, I don't think it's unlikely that the margins will be greater than 50%. So again, we come back to this. The real question is, when are the robots coming and who's going to produce them? And I'm very happy personally that it is not governments, it is not military organizations, it's not, crazy people, it's not Facebook, it's not Google that are producing this robot. I trust Elon Musk, and he generally seems to be a guy that has good intentions, and I hope that this will not be used for military cause. So we are very lucky that it's him who's, making these. So now we come to the when. So this is what I think most people miss, and this could be the biggest investment mistake that you make. So everything that Elon has done has been a series of iterations and optimizing. So if you think of SpaceX, they started out the company with the goal of having reusable rockets. But did they come out with a reusable rocket? No. They came out with the Falcon 1, which barely made it up to orbit. It blew up 3 times. The 4th time they managed to get it up. Then they came out with the Falcon 9, which was a 50% reusable rocket, or 70%, because, stage 1 of the rocket was still left in space. That was the rocket where they actually managed to land the stage 1. And then as a next iteration, then they came to Starship, and that's the one that is 100% reusable. It's easy to make. And, they had to go through all these iterations. The same thing happened with how they came from the Tesla Roadster, which was a garbage car to produce. It was costing them $180,000, which they were selling for $110,000. And they went to the Model S. And also the first Model S's that came out, they were nothing like the Model S's that you see. I believe that the biggest battery was a 60 kilowatt hour battery. The 0 to 100 time, the fastest was around 6 seconds. Today you get a 2.4 second 0 to 100 time, self-driving, 100 kilowatt hour battery, insane range, Tesla superchargers, everything, iteration, 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 iteration. Even how he went from the Model 3 and they optimized on it and they went to the Model Y, which has like 75% less parts. It's made in a complete different ways. Heck, they even did it with the Gigafactories. First, they had the Fairmont factory, which was a used car factory that they bought from other companies. And then they thought that this was a botched piece together BS. And they built their own factory and the whole world was laughing at them. And then they optimized that factory when they built Shanghai, which was built in 9 months and has gotten up to record scale in no time. Fantastic profitability. And heck, they're doing the same effing thing with autopilot. So the first version of autopilot that came out, it was basically lane keeper, and they slowly add more and more features. And now we are at 160,000 people who have the FSD beta. They just keep on optimizing on the batteries. So why would this be different with the robot? I think that they're going to focus on very limited. So they're going to throw together something that can be mass produced and that can be sold. And there will be use cases where it is going to be worth the money. probably hundreds of thousands of these use cases. Maybe, you know, Amazon can have Tesla self-driving cars, never going to happen, with these robots that get out, open the back of the car, you know, take the package and deliver them. And it would be way cheaper for them, you know, than paying humans to do this, right? So I'm sure that they're going to find these niche use cases where it's going to be totally worth the price, and they can start manufacturing, start collecting data, and start optimizing on this. Maybe even, you know, walking your dog, watering your plants, being, you know, a general security at home, and, you know, someone that the elderly people can talk to. I don't know, but I'm sure it's going to be something like this. And then with the years, they're going to expand and expand on the use cases. So imagine if they would start production in 3 to 4 years in a completely new dedicated gigafactory, and 10 years from now, they would get to a level. These are complete guesses, right? But this is based on Elon's earlier track record. So 10 years from now, they get to a point where the robot is semi-useful. You know, it can be your delivery guy. It can maybe do your dishes. You know, it can help elderly people. And in 20 years from now, it comes to a complete general artificial intelligence when it's like your human slave, you know? But it's going to take all these iterations to get to this point. And this is where analysts and all the stock investors get very disappointed, because they think that Tesla is not going to sell any of these robots until they get to the stage that is 20 years from now. And this could not be further from the truth. So how would the Tesla financials be affected for it? If they get a 50% gross margin on these robots, that would be like an iPhone gross margin on these products, except I would be surprised if they're not selling these robots with a subscription for over-the-air updates. So let's say that you get a dog walker and the robot cannot do certain things, and you pay this, I don't know, $50, $100 a month, and your robot just gets better, and you know, you get newer and newer functions added to it, right? It's almost unfathomable what this would do to Tesla financials and the valuations. And currently, again, there is $0. So it's not even priced in if they're semi-successful, or it's not even priced in if it's probably taking away from the valuation of Tesla. So the risk reward when you're investing into Tesla and you think it's a good valuation for the car company as it is, it's insane with this investment. And because I'm a very lazy investor, as I awarded to in my previous videos, I want to invest into companies where I know that they're going to grow for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And all I have to do is show up to the quarterly earnings, look at the projections and see, okay, they're doing what they said they would do. And, you know, just ride the wave. And Amazon was such a company. And, you know, if you invested, you know, in the 2000s into Amazon, you have like more than 100 times your money. Same with Apple, same with Netflix. And I really think that this is what's going to play out with Tesla. And not knowing this and missing this could be the biggest investment mistake that you ever make. Of course, this is not financial advice. I have zero qualifications to give you a financial advice. I'm just a YouTuber, and this is my opinion strictly. But let me know, do you agree with me? Or do you think I'm crazy? And if you have watched this far, then you're an OG viewer. I really appreciate you. Please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys.